This video is going to go over the LibChat interface. So first we're going to scroll down to the library staff resources page, and we're going to log in. And then we're going to go over to the start chat button, and what you'll see is the chat interface has opened up and defaulted to the settings tab. You notice there's three tabs here. There's chats, tickets, and settings. When you sign in, you're automatically brought into settings, and it automatically makes your status online. There's always going to be these system notes here that you can just completely ignore. Those are just things from SpringShare telling you if there's some updates going on. I'm just going to close them for now. But what you want to look at here is when you sign in is to make sure that your sounds are on and your desktop notifications are on. What will happen is when someone sends in a new text or chat or ticket, which would in this case be an email, the sound will come on and give you a little ding sound and let you know that it's there, and the desktop notification will pop up in the corner of your screen above your clock over here in the far bottom right. Once your notifications are set up, we can go over and take a look at the other tabs. So we have a chat tab and a ticket tab. The chats is where all your texts and chat messages will come in, and the tickets tab is where all emails come in while you're signed into chat. So we're going to look at the chats. Right now I have it selected. You'll see there are two groups of chats. We have patron chats and we have internal chats. The patron chats is where outside chats will appear. That gets transferred to this section. So right now there's no chat, so it just says no chats available. Internal chat is chat across people who are logged in on the system, so the other librarians are logged in. In this case I'm logged in under my alias, Ron Wells, but if I wanted to talk to Anna, I could click on Anna's name. A box will appear and I can start typing in here, and then her responses will appear up here so we can go back and forth between each other. Sometimes you'll get a little ding message and a little pop-up, and you'll look up here and there'll be nothing here. Chances are it's one of the internal people who's talking to you. So look for a person who has either a red circle next to their name, or if you're already on that person's box, just check to see if that person has sent anything to you. I'm going to go ahead now and send in an external chat as if I were a user. So as you can see, a new chat has come in. It's ringing an annoying bell. So I'm going to click on here, and this is the chat that came in. So now I'm going to hit claim chat. So I've claimed this chat, and you'll see that it tells me who sent it in, which is what the student or person who's filling out the form is going to put in here. So it doesn't necessarily mean it's their real name, it's whatever name they put in, what campus they're coming from, and how they got here. So this came from the library's homepage. That's the library homepage URL right there. And it also says homepage chat widget. So this lets you know they came in through our homepage and who they are. Over here is their question. So in this case I just put please do not answer because I didn't want other librarians to pick this one up while I was doing this demo. But if they had a real question, this is where it would be. And now we can do a little back and forth by saying, hello, how are you? And I can send that message off. And as we have a conversation, they'll just keep building up back and forth through here. I have other options other than just sending them a back and forth text. You could paste in links in here. So if you had a URL, like you'd come up here, copy this URL and paste it in, and that'll give them an active hyperlink that they can click on. If you're communicating with them and for whatever reason you need their contact information, you can either just ask them for it, like their name and email address, or you can click this button down here that says request contact from the patron. And when I click this, it'll go out to them. You do have to let them know that this is only for email because it won't accept anything else. And it's not very specific on the form itself when you send it to them. It just asks them for contact information, and it has to just be their email address. And the reason you might want to have that is because if you need to follow up with this person for any reason, this chat is not keeping any of their personal information. So you need to kind of get it from them in advance if you're going to try to follow up. You can also transfer a chat into the ticket system, so essentially turning it into an email. So if it's a chat that's too long to answer here, or you really need to do some research and get back to that person, there's a button up here called create a ticket. If I click on create a ticket, it's going to let me inject it into that lib dashboard that we saw in the other video. So I can put it in the whichever queue I choose. I'm going to put it in the Florum queue. I can assign it to a particular person. Maybe I don't want to assign it to myself. I can't answer it. In this case, I am going to assign it to myself. And it gives me the patron's name and email address, which we got from that contact form. You do need an email address if you're going to transfer a ticket. That's the only way the ticket system knows how to contact anybody. So I'm going to go ahead and create this ticket. And I'm going to close this alert. As you can see, the alerts can get really annoying if you're working with somebody and you have them cranked up really loud like I do. So what I tend to do is if I'm working with another patron, I go back to my settings real quick, I turn my alert sounds off, and I come back over to my chats and I chat with that person. So now let's say that chat is over with and we want to close it out. We say goodbye to the person. There's two things that can happen. They could close their chat out before you do, in which case you're just going to see a close chat button up here. But if you close it out first, you're going to have an end chat button. So if you click end chat, it'll ask you to fill out the reference analytics form to record this transaction. So in this case, I'm not going to do it because I don't really want to put this in our transaction. So I'm just going to hit X. But then you'll see the transaction's still there. So you're like, okay, I just closed this, but why is it still here? For whatever reason, you just have to hit close chat again. And now it got rid of it. So now we have no more chats in our list. We do, however, have a ticket. And that's the ticket that I just created from my chat. So essentially, this is like getting an email from the email form on our page. So I'm going to go over here, and you can see it's already claimed by me because I assigned it to myself. This is essentially what an incoming email would look like, other than the fact it wouldn't say it's already claimed by me. It would just have nothing here. So if it was an incoming email and I wanted to claim it, I could just click on it, and it's going to give me the person's question, any kind of interaction we might have had already before if we were talking through chat, and then their contact information. So if this were a brand new ticket, instead of just saying view tickets, it would say claim and view this ticket, or view and claim this ticket, some combination of that. And you would just click here. Essentially it's going to do the same thing, and it should bring you out to the dashboard where you can answer this ticket as if it were a regular ticket coming in through the dashboard. I'm not going to do that right now. I'm actually just going to close this. And another thing that's kind of confusing about the ticket system is when you're done and you answer it in the dashboard, you come back here to the chat and it's still sitting here, even though you've closed it out on the other one. So you have to come up here and hit remove ticket from dashboard. Ignore the ref stats if you already recorded them in the dashboard, but if you didn't record them in the dashboard, record them here. And then you got to do it again, and then it gets rid of it. It's a very odd system, but that's just the way it is, and there's really not much else we can do about that. Next, I want to cover texts. They come in just like their chats, but they function a little bit differently. So I'm going to go ahead and send myself a text to the system. You'll see a text has come in. My beep would go off if I had it on, but I have it turned off. A text alert has come up here. I'm going to click on this and claim this ticket, and you'll see there's a little phone icon right next to the message that came in. That just lets you know it's a text. So does the source SMS. It also lets you know it's a text, and it lets you know what queue it's coming in from, because we have two separate phone numbers for our text, one for the Metropolitan Campus and one for the Florum Campus. Essentially, it works very similar to the chat, except you notice a lot of your options are stripped down. You no longer have bold and italics and whatnot. And that's because texts are limited to a certain number of characters. So you can only type a brief statement. You can't really do any like highlighting or anything like that. You still can insert URLs. So if I had, for some reason, maybe I want to set up a Zoom meeting with this person, and this was my Zoom URL, I could paste it and put it in and send it to them, and now they have a URL which they could use on their phone to log into Zoom if they had Zoom installed on their phone. When you're using a text message, you really want to keep these kind of brief. If you're finding you're having a long conversation with this person, you might want to suggest that you have them either contact you directly or go through email or something along those lines, because trying to do a long conversation with detail when you're limited to a certain number of characters can get very frustrating very fast. So let's say we're done with our text. If you do need to contact that person, you'll notice you don't know their number or their name, so you're going to have to request it down here by asking them what's your name and what's your phone number or your email address, whatever preferred method of contact you have. Otherwise, you're going to lose complete contact with that person. So now let's say this text is over. We either answered the person's question or we've push them on to a more appropriate form of communication. Now we want to end this text. We go over to the X again, we click on it, and we hit remove ticket from dashboard. Again, it's going to ask us to fill in the reference analytics form. So if this was the end of the transaction, maybe they just want to know, are we open today? And we say, no, we're not, or yes, we are. Then you could fill out this form. But if they want to do something that you're going to get back to them on, I wouldn't fill this form out now. I'd fill it out when you have your final transaction with that person. So then I'm just going to close this rather than submit it. And you'll see, just like in the tickets, it's still here. So I had to go up here one more time, say remove tickets from dashboard, and now it's gone. This was just a brief introduction to chat. There's other features available, but I think you should just learn the basics and then we can talk about other options. That concludes this video.